Hey, what's up? It's your boy Rawk. You want to know my least favourite thing about most GameCube games? Hands down, the fact that they're on the GameCube. I don't want to play games on this thing. What do I look like, someone who gives a shit? Absolutely not! Which is why I only play games on consoles that my grandma plays. And it's a damn nice bonus if they shoehorn motion controls in there. You ever look at Donkey Kong Jungle Beat and wish its box art looked fucking disgusting? The Nintendo GameCube is loved in the hearts of gamers across the world. In the eyes of many, it was Nintendo's very best console, the cream of the crop, the definition of excellence. It sold horribly. The console only managed to sell 22 million units, falling slightly short of Microsoft's Xbox, and put dead in the fucking ground by Sony's PlayStation 2. Not many people had one of these beauties, and therefore, not many people were able to play some of the system's most stellar games. Most of the human race hasn't played Doshin the Giant, and that just won't stand. If only more people got to experience some of the system's best games. If only the GameCube's best games were on much better selling hardware. If only I could feel Mario Power Tennis. I'm welcome. The new Play Control series was a line of games that Nintendo introduced in 2009 which aimed to bring new life to the GameCube's greatest games. A good number of games were re-released under this branding, all of which being the definitive editions of those original gens in the eyes of many. Nobody fucking talks about these games anymore. But why is that? Why did people just forget that these games existed? Why do people not give a shit about Pikmin 2 anymore? Well, I'm glad I asked, because today, we're taking a look at the entirety of the new Play Control series to see if they truly are better than the originals, or if society just wasn't ready to play select Nintendo GameCube games specifically enhanced for Wii. Let's go in PAL release order here, because we got Pikmin before the States did, and that deserves to be celebrated. Yup, Pikmin. You know Pikmin. Released near the launch of the GameCube Pikmin. Movement and pointer were mapped to the same stick Pikmin. The C-stick was only used to make your Pikmin waddle Pikmin. You know, that Pikmin. Yeah, they re-released this game on the Wii on February 8th, 2009. They were brave. Now, back when I talked about the original Pikmin, I briefly discussed the new Play Control release, and how it's not my favorite. I thought that the new visuals were absolutely stunning, bringing Pikmin out of 4x3 and into a resolution that doesn't fucking sting. But I was never really able to get on board with the controls. I could never really get the pointer to work smoothly. It would always end up jumping around the screen. Now you may be asking if anything was blocking my sensor bar, but I washed down the bad taste of this game with Super Mario Galaxy, and it worked flawlessly. So I kinda wrote this version off, but after picking it up about a year later, I'm a changed man. These controls, when they finally decide to work, feel good. I don't know if they're a replacement for the GameCube controls, but they're a damn fine substitute. And the visual enhancements are enough to make me consider leaving my old life behind. Sure, when playing on an original Wii, the only graphical difference is that you can see more of them. But playing on a Wii U, my god, it's night and day. The colors are so vibrant and the resolution is so crisp. And that goes for all of the titles in this line. I love it. So again, I don't think this can replace the original for me, but this is a fantastic way to play Pikmin. And hey, this version's easier to get your hands on anyway. You just need to own a corpse. I can lend you one. About 1 month later, on March 6, 2009, we got new Play Control Mario Power Tennis. I don't know about this one. First of all, Mario Tennis seems like an absolute no-brainer for the Wii. After all, tennis was one of the sports crammed into Wii Sports, and playing tennis with a waggle wand feels so good. Why would Mario Power Tennis be any different? Well, Wii Sports was made with the Wii Remote in mind. Mario Power Tennis was made for something my grandma would squint at. Does Jesus approve of this? Because of that, it is painfully obvious that Mario Power Tennis wasn't made with motion controls in mind. You're just swinging the remote instead of pressing A, and it feels unnatural. Of course, all motion controls boil down to a safety hazard instead of a thumb movement, but if a game is built around that, it feels seamless. But hey, at least the opening movie is in widescreen now. And I'm not talking about taking the original and stretching it out to fill the screen. What do I look like, a pussy? No, I'm bitching about Mario Power Tennis on the Wii. How could I be one? They either went in and re-exported this thing into 16:9, or it was always made with that resolution in mind. The GameCube couldn't display 16:9 outputs. What the hell was the point of that? Let's jump back on the Pikmin bandwagon for a sec, because the next game in the lineup was Pikmin 2, releasing on April 24th, 2009 in Europe, March 12th, 2009 in Japan, and June 10th, 2012 in the States. What, was this game convicted of murder?
Don't be ridiculous. It was only arson.
Seriously, why did this game stay the hell away from the States for so long? And when it finally released there, why the hell was it a Nintendo Selects exclusive? Good God! Oh, the game itself? I mean, it's Pikmin, but it decided to whip out maths on us. It might hurt my brain, but that doesn't change the controls. There really isn't much to say about this one because the controls in the GameCube version were literally identical to the first game. So it stands to reason that that would be the case here too. If it wasn't, I might have had to call the feds. Next up, we had Donkey Kong Jungle Beat, released on June 5th, 2009. Oh, Donkey Kong Jungle Beat, the game that's responsible for me getting evicted. This is an interesting case. See, Mario Power Tennis and Pikmin both used the everyday no-nonsense GameCube controller. Donkey Kong Jungle Beat is a game that was originally controlled using God's Wet Dream. What does a normal dream look like for this guy? This game already had an unconventional control scheme, so on paper, it seems like transitioning over to this unconventional controller should be a smooth process. And for the most part, it is. But I miss using the controller I have to explain to my parents.
Just stop playing those damn bongos, I'm trying to sleep!
Oh, come on, it's for Donkey Kong!
There is absolutely nothing wrong with the controls here in the Wii version. In fact, they're probably better because I don't need to relive the trauma of failing music classes. But the magic just isn't there anymore, and it kinda devalues the overall game. Jungle Beat is a fine game, but a lot of that comes from the perspective of, wow, for something I'm playing using bongos and no integrity, this game is surprisingly good. But if you take away the bongos, I'm sorry, it's just a mediocre 2D platformer. Get in line! This was also the only new Play Control title that actually changed a lot from the original, and I still don't know why. Some level designs, bosses, and level orders were tweaked here. Not enough to make this a brand new game, but definitely enough to confuse the shit out of me.
Now, technically speaking, that was it for the new Play Control line, but over in Japan, they were living a completely different life. They got Metroid Prime 1 and 2 as separate releases, but over here, Nintendo tried to shove a whole ass trilogy down our throats like Nintendo. At least buy me dinner first.
Metroid Prime 1 and 2 released on September 4th, 2009 as a part of the Metroid Prime trilogy. I don't understand this. Don't get me wrong, I'm happy Nintendo did this, but also, they would sell you a cool looking seashell they found for $150. Why the hell did they sell 3 new games for the price of 1? Let's remember, Prime 3 was only 2 years old at this point, so to see Nintendo package it with enhanced versions of 2 other games that they could have very easily sold separately for much more profit, well, let's just say Catholicism hasn't been the same since then. So Metroid Prime 1 and 2. They were updated to control almost exactly like Prime 3. You move around with the stick on the nunchuck and aim with the pointer. Much like Pikmin, the GameCube controls saw moving and aiming being mapped to the same stick. And if you wanted to move while being stationary, you had to hold the R button. Odd request, but I can make it work. The GameCube controls were far from bad, but the Wii controls are probably better. And I still don't like them. Look, I've played Metroid Prime on the GameCube so much that I'm used to the weird controls, and playing these games with anything other than them feels bizarre. Also, I think playing these games kind of made me realize, wow, I don't like using the pointer to aim. I know, I thought this was the way of the future, but turns out I'm too stubborn to convert. I'm glad I didn't have to pay for each of these separately. Imagine my life if I bought something that I didn't end up liking. The final game that released in this branding was Chibi Robo on the 11th of June 2009. It saw the original game output in widescreen with brand new motion controls for certain actions, which are both standards with all of the games, but what isn't standard is not releasing outside of Japan.
Fuck it all to hell!
Yeah, new Play Control Chibi Robo never left Japan, which is monumentally disappointing. It also seems incredibly stupid to me. The original game released in all regions, so the translation work was already done, and the motion controls didn't seem all that complicated. Why was this game not released in all regions? This was Chibi Robo's time to shine. This game released during the height of the Wii's popularity, and could have given this franchise the chance it deserves. But no, this was the only new Play Control game that didn't leave Japan, and I am so overwhelmingly disappointed by that fact. So I gave up.
Yeah, don't look at me like I don't own new Play Control Chibi Robo. That's pretty much what I'm best known for. In fact, according to Wikipedia, I'm known as the guy who owns new Play Control Chibi Robo, but doesn't have a way to play it. Son of a bitch.
Yep, I bought a Japanese copy of Chibi Robo on Wii and only realized I was an idiot after it arrived. The Wii and Wii U are region locked, so I can only play PAL games on my PAL system. Now, I do have spares of each of these consoles, so in theory, I could mod my systems to make them region free. But this is the same guy whose lungs only work 85% of the time. This wouldn't end well. So instead, I bought a freeloader, a disc that allows me to play non-PAL games. I'm not going to question how, I'm just going to accept it. Chibi Robo, here I come! Huh. So turns out that both of my Wii consoles are running on firmware that isn't compatible with this disc. We were so close to a new tomorrow. So, I could have given up at this point, or I could have bought a Wii for cheap. But there's no way of guaranteeing that that puppy would be compatible. I would only know when I actually had my hands on it. So, I ended up buying a Japanese Wii.
Allow me to introduce you to 3 whole reasons not to talk to me.
I never thought I'd see the day that I owned 3 Wiis and was in a cult. So, I have a Japanese Wii now and my family can't look me in the eye. But that's fine, because there is a 100% guarantee that this disc will finally work. Now, Japan and the UK do have different plugs, which might have been an issue if I wasn't so easily manipulatable. You really think the guy who owns 3 Wiis wouldn't have some cables to spare? So, the console is plugged in and I can't read Japanese, but I know my way around a Wii, damn it, so that won't stop me. Open up the Wii menu and it's finally happening!
Alright, I'm down over £120 and I'm under investigation. I've been on this mission for months and every second of it has been hell, but that's all worth it because I get to play Chibi Robo, but it's worse now!
This is Mario Power Tennis all over again. The motion controls here just feel so unnatural. Like, look at how cleaning spots worked in the GameCube version. You just mashed the A button until dirt and grime were a thing of the past. But in this version, you have to shake the Wii remote to do it instead, and it just feels so... Ugh. And then when you have to make decisions, you have to go out of your way to select options with the pointer, rather than just pressing A. This is so unfortunate too, because this had the opportunity to be the definitive version of Chibi Robo. The graphical upgrade is so nice, bringing the endearing world of the Sanderson household into 16:9. It adds to the wonder of it all. But the controls simply aren't better, and I think it's fair to say, they're worse. This was the game that really made me think, why didn't these games offer support for the GameCube controller? That way we could have all of the benefits of being on the Wii, but if you didn't like the controls, no big deal. It would inarguably make these the definitive releases, but instead, they ended up kind of ruining some of the games with the new controls. Also that Wii owners knew their place in society.
And that was the new Play Control line. It was okay. Some of these games, like Pikmin and Metroid, undeniably the greatest versions of these classics. Donkey Kong Jungle Beat? It's debatable. But then with Chibi Robo and Mario Power Tennis? Well, you'd be better off with the GameCube originals. The new Play Control series did not do all too well sales-wise, and it only ended up lasting for a few months. But when over half of the games in the lineup are better than they ever had been? Why is that?
Yep, that would make sense. What the hell is up with these box arts? They're disgusting! They have the generic Wii circles everywhere. They significantly shrink the actual art. They have this big ass banner on the bottom just begging us to play select Nintendo GameCube titles specifically enhanced for Wii. And the damn box art says new Play Control 3 fucking times! Thankfully, they come with reversible covers, and these are so much better. The spine looks nice, the box art isn't shrunk, and there's a small new Play Control text above the logo, which is a lot more conservative. But looking at these on a shelf, who would want this?
A lot of people look back at the new Play Control line as just a way to fill Nintendo's schedule for 2009, and while that's definitely true to some extent, I think this series worked more to make the Nintendo Wii the definitive Nintendo experience on just one slice of white bread.
Here's what I mean. Look at the games that released in this line that actually had the new Play Control branding. Metroid, I'm not counting you because you nullify my point. To the timeout corner with you. None of these series saw new entries on the Wii. There was no new Mario Tennis, no new Pikmin, no new Chibi Robo, and no new Donkey Kong spin-off. I think this was Nintendo's way of bringing all of their series together without actually having to make new games. So where the fuck was Mario Golf? There are so many GameCube games that could have worked on the Wii that weren't going to receive new entries on the console. Kirby Air Ride and F-Zero, and hell, even Wave Race Blue Storm. Racing games that could have appealed to the casual market in the same way Mario Kart Wii did, with the Wii Wheel. Star Fox Assault, you could have used the pointer to aim the ship's reticle. It might not have been perfect, but it would have been better than Star Fox Zero. Dosh and the Giant, you could have used the motion controls to raise and lower the land. And they could have finally brought this game to North America. Hell, even Luigi's Mansion could have worked, using the motion controls to aim the Poltergust 3000. And that's probably just scratching the surface. None of these series were gonna make it to the Wii, but with new Play Control releases, they kinda could have.
Nintendo really could have done more with the new Play Control line. But they didn't. So I'll do it for them. Introducing the old Play Control line, a way to play select Nintendo GameCube games on the Nintendo 64.
You can't play Pikmin on that!